Okay, welcome back to video number 4, all about swapping out the text or the copy on your website. So we've spent some time talking about the home page and using that as an example. Let's go down to the about page and focus on this one for this example video. So when I say copy, I just mean the text on your website, and so that is things like here where I'm clicking, you can see kind of you have your headings, your paragraphs, and some fun elements like this timeline here. So first things first. Starting at the top, when you click on text, it's going to bring up, like I talked about in the first video, this kind of like smart panel. And the way that text works on the site is very, very similar to any other word processor you may have used, whether that's Microsoft Word, Google Docs, your Notes app, anything like that. So you have your text, so you'll just select it, and you can delete the text that's here and kind of use it as a guide to write your own copy. If you're working with a copywriter or someone else to help you with the words on your website, then you absolutely can use that as a guide, but there are some kind of placeholders in here to give you an idea. So you can change the alignment here by clicking on this align tool. So we have it left aligned, but if you need it centered or right aligned, you can click from here. You also can change the size of the font and just the general styling. Remember when we set up the design settings, we set up the default font. So if we click on, we want this to be a title, it's going to automatically change it to the title that we set up in design settings. Now for us, the black is not showing great contrast on this image, so we want to change that over to another color in our palette. I'm just going to go back to white here. And then we can expand this text box to kind of stretch the text out and have it not get cut off. Or you can drop down the size. It's really up to you, but if you want things to stay consistent, I recommend using the title or the properties that you have set up here and then just changing the color as necessary. Alternatively, you also can use what's already set up in the template as your guide to stay consistent as well. So right here, the heading has already been styled for you. If you're not using Ivy Presto, then you can swap it out for another font that you've chosen, or it may already have automatically updated if you went in and customized your design settings. So here is just some space for a paragraph, some extra space. And then going down, we have this cool timeline feature. So you'll just click on here to update your text. You're really going to want to now switch over to the mobile version of your site and just make sure that all of your text is not getting cut off and that it is displaying properly. So when you swap out photos, those are going to automatically populate. So you just want to make sure that your text, which is also going to automatically populate, isn't getting cut off or spacing weird. So you can see I'm adjusting this here so that it is not running into this text that we have down at the bottom. So everything should stay pretty consistent if your text that you're inputting is similar in length to what's already inside the template. If not, you might just have to make some simple adjustments by either dropping down the size of the font or adjusting the text box. I'm going to pop back over to the desktop version and you can continue updating your text. Going over to the About page for this next example, we're going to talk a little bit about your text and how it relates to click action. So on the services page, if we scroll down, you can see we kind of have some like filler text, these great elements, and then you go down and you get to the buttons on your site. So you can change the text. So if you don't have like an apply process, you can say like, book now, or whatever you want your call to action to be. Maybe it is going to be, contact me. Whatever kind of fits your brand and your copy. So once you're happy with your text, what you're going to do is click here, and you can see that this right now is linking to the contact page. So when a user clicks here, they're going to be directed here where they can contact you. Going back to the services page, we want to make sure that if we don't want this to the contact page, we change it. So you can change it to another canvas on this page. You can change it to a URL. So if you're using like a third party for booking or maybe to schedule a Calendly call with you or something like that, you'll want to choose URL. If you want them to email you, you'll want to select email. So choose whatever works best. For most of your site, I would say that you're normally going to stick to page. So we're going to say page is fine on this. Now we also want to link the shape behind the button. And the reason that is because you're never really going to be sure where someone's going to click. Are they going to click directly in the center of the button? If so, they would get to the contact page. But if this shape wasn't linked and they clicked on the edge right here, this to me feels like I'm still clicking on the button, but I'm actually missing this text box here. So we want to make sure we're linking the button to the same place. You can do that by, again, clicking on the shape and changing it to link to the right spot, or you can select everything here by clicking, holding, and dragging, and then you can go down to click options in the very bottom here and use the configure link to do exactly the same thing. So we would go to page, and then we would click on contact, or wherever you want that button to link to. So you'll go through and you will do that for each of the sections for your different offers. And then, down here, this is linking to the About section. So same thing, you want to click on both of these and select them all and configure the link, or, select each element individually and then have it go to the page that you want it to. So if you don't want this to go to the About page, if you want it to go to the contact page or maybe your podcast page, you'll select that from the list and just change the copy. Another area on your site where click actions are really important is on your testimonials. So if we go into edit testimonials here, the user can click on these arrows to swap through the testimonials, and that is set up through click actions. Instead of going to a page, it's just going to another what's called canvas view. So by clicking on this arrow, you can see there's these different views, and it's going to swap through them by going to canvas, this canvas, and then the next view. And these will just loop in a circle because we've checked loop canvas views. So you'll go through and edit your text in this first view. So we have testimonial 1, and then when you click on testimonial 2, it's going to change, and then you can edit the text here. You don't want to edit anything outside of these different canvas views. Those are things that stay the same. So for example, these testimonial, just kind of like titles, the stars here, and the arrows, those are all outside of these views. The only thing you want to edit is inside these views or these little folders. So you'll have the kind of like pull quote from the testimonial, the full testimonial, and then the name. And you'll edit those for each one of these canvases. And then when you preview this, you can see, if we go to the services page, or really any page that your testimonial section is on, when we click through, it's going to just swap them through, which is pretty cool. You can change the way that this animation works. So right now we have it on slide, but if you click on a view and you go to view transitions down here at the very bottom, you can change it from slide to fade. There's lots of different options, but slide and fade are probably the most common. If you like the way that it works right now, just keep it as is. The next big area where canvas views are really important is, of course, your menu and your footer. So you have links to the different pages on your site, both on the bottom of every page and on the top. So if we click on menu here, we'll go to edit menu, and you can see that this is your logo. It's linking to the home page. You can type in your own name, or you can actually upload like an icon or an image. Remember, you can go to media library and input an image. You would add this to the canvas. Right now it's really small, so you're going to go to image, size and position, and then you're just going to change the width from 1 to something a little bigger so we can see it. So say this was my logo, I could take this out, add this here, and you can make anything a click action. So just like we made the arrows on the testimonial click action, we could choose, say this is your icon, we would go to click actions, and then you would link it page and then to the home page. You also have the, let me delete this real quick. You also have the regular navigation on your site. So the home is already linked to home. The about's already linked to the about. Same thing for services. Podcast page, you're going to want to change this from URL to the actual podcast page on your site. So you're going to do page, and then you'll select podcast from the template. It's just not set up that way right now because we want to be able to preview the way that it's showing up when you get to preview this site. Same thing for blog. Instead of it linking to the demo blog page, you're going to have it linked to your actual blog page. And contact is linking to contact. You also have these social icons here. So Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube, your podcast page, you'll want to change that to podcast and TikTok. So you can delete, if you don't have all of these social media accounts, no worries, you can delete them from the template and just keep what you want to use. Now you'll notice that I have clicked on TikTok right now and it's linked to social TikTok, but there's not really like a way to put in your URL for TikTok, and that's because that is controlled by the design settings. If you remember in the first video, we went to site, site settings, and then social. And then here, you'll just input all the URLs once. So for all of your social media that you want to include on the site, you'll put in all the URLs, and then it's automatically going to populate into these different categories. Into these different placeholders. That way you don't have to enter the URL for every time this is used, because it's also used on the footer of your site. So if you go down here, it's going to populate in here and you don't have to go through and do it twice. I would just double check to make sure it's displaying all the proper social media icons and it's not displaying anything that you don't have set up for your brand. Same thing on the bottom navigation. So this is linked to home, this is linked to the about page, this is to the services page, and then you'll want to go through and change the podcast page to the correct page as well as the blog. We also have over here under the More section, we have the contact page and then your privacy policy and your terms and conditions page. So those are actually pages over here in your list. So if we select privacy policy, this is where you can just delete this filler text, input your own privacy policy for your site, as well as terms and conditions. Now, depending on where you live, where your business is registered, you may not need a terms and conditions page or a privacy policy page, but definitely check where you are locally, where your business is set up, to see if these are legal pages that are required on your website. So in this video, we covered the text on your site, and we also covered click actions and how important those are in the buttons for your site, your menus, and just adjusting your copy for things like the main pages, the about page, and the testimonials. In the next video, we're going to talk about site canvases. So you have a list down here of what those are, and I will be diving into that into the next video.